We have not found the patterns of the five-nut mooncakes, but during live streaming we can see such pattern. But it looks, and they are the traditional Chinese mooncakes pattern. There are round-shaped patterns. Also, we have seen some other patterns. These are the heart-shaped, and there are some patterns of animals. So during our live streaming, we'll introduce you one by one. So no more words. I would like to invite our master, who will teach you how to make five-nut mooncake by hand, and his daughter, Mr. Liang Ruwen. And the master's name is Mr. Liang Rujun, and they will introduce us the traditional procedures of making the five-nut mooncake. Greetings, everyone. I would like to show you how the five-nut mooncake is made. Greetings. I'm his daughter. She looks young. But she has over 30 years of making the five-nut mooncakes. She played piano, but now she's proficient in making mooncakes. My name is Liang Ruwen. Today, the father and daughter will show us how the five-nut mooncake is made. If I want to make the traditional five-nut mooncake, what materials should we prepare if we want to make it at home? Generally, first you should have powder, cooking oil, white sugar, the syrup made by white sugar, the skin. Yes, you should use the powder, cooking oil, and the syrup. What about the fillings? We should use the mature white powder, and also we should add some white sugar. They're in the shape of powder, and these are the cooked flour. And why should we use the cooked flour? Because when we make it, we should use our hand. So if you have an oven, and then you can cook the raw flour into the ripe one, into the cooked one. So if you want to turn the raw flour and into the cooked one, there is one step you should watch out for. Then sometimes you can fry it, but in this way, during the process of frying, you should watch out for the temperature of the fire. And this is the white sugar. At home, if you have the high-speed blender, and then you can put the flour into it to break it into powder. Also, the honey. Honey is used to adjust the taste. And these vegetables are made from oranges. Then we should prepare the five nuts. You can prepare it according to your taste. You can also add olive oil, Yorglan's recta nut, and also, but today we use the white sesame and the black sesame, the peanuts. So, though it is called the five nut, if you want to, well, if you like walnuts, you can put more walnuts. If you like the olive, you can put more olive. So the taste depends on you. We can find also there are different colors, and this kind of vegetables are from the orange skin. They are also used for seasoning. We add it to improve the flavor. So when at home, if ordinary people do not have this, and so you may not. If you do not have, don't need to add it. So the 5 nuts are the most important. The white sugar is very important, and it should be the white sugar, and it should be cooked. And honey, water, and cooking oil are needed, and our netizens may like the 5-nut mooncake very much, and some have said that the 5-nut mooncakes are the kings of the mooncakes, and another netizen said that it should be called the 6-nut mooncake. Some because there is also the handicraft by the mooncake masters, because sometimes it spends a long time to make a mooncake, but when you process it, your handicraft is integrated into it. So let's first look at how the skin is made. I will first show you how the skin is made. This is the syrup made from the white sugar. Then you remove some of the remove some of the other things that are not the ingredients of the white sugar. So it is made from the water and the white sugar. So first you should make it sticky. When you cooked it into the sticky form, first you should remove the impurities, and then another way is to make the operation faster, because the syrups can be smeared more evenly. You can use if they are in particulates, then it may not be so evenly distributed. So the mix should meet some standards. For instance, what is the proportion of water powder against the white sugar? It's about 4 against 6. 40% of the syrups and 60% of the powder. So it is 4 against 6. Can you show us? What else should be added? Cooking oil, yes. Now we're making the skin of the mooncake. First, you should mix it evenly. You should mix the oil and the cooking oil and the syrup. Then you gradually add something into it. If you make it at home, you need to prepare so many raw materials, and you make how many mooncakes you want to make. If you get the scale, you can make it at home and eat it afterwards. Because from the making, from the beginning to the end, it may not take you so long. Because when in holidays, if you want to eat it, you can prepare very few ingredients to make 6 or 8 mooncakes to families to enjoy. The families can gather around a table to make the mooncakes and enjoy the mooncakes together. It is very enjoyable, especially when in Mid-Autumn Festival, it is holiday. If you get this skill, you can make the mooncakes. So it is a reunification of families, and it is also harmonious and happy for the families to get together. So how much time should be spent for mixing? And you should also press it hard. So we can see that our masters use our palm to push the powder downwards. So many of the netizens may have the experience of making fillings. If you have the experience of making dumplings, net dough, or fillings, you can use the experience in making of the mooncakes. When eating mooncake, you for next to say that the fillings of lettuce or some because some like the Guangzhou flour or Suzhou flavor. When I was young, when I home could bake using flour. Every place has different habit. Five nuts is common. There are different methods of making it. We have, though the are the same, walnuts or the nuts of other can add it. We have to bake the mooncake with common flavors. So, as for the flavors or the nuts, you can decide by yourself. For that, when we are making dough or bread, the flour we have chosen may be different, but as for this one, we use middle tea flour. So it should not be too tight, and because when it is too tight, the skin may be contracting. So when we are kneading the flour, we should adjust our strength to some extent. So how much do we spend to about over 10 minutes? Now it's still soft. Just no impact. So should keep kneading. So when should it be finished? It is easy to operate to make different without needing it. So what are the keys to make skin? Just as Mr. Cyrus proportion against flour for against it is catered to the ordinary people's taste. So to make it sweet, you can add more syrups. There are more. Ordinary situation, the proportion of syrup against flour is 4 against 6. If you wanted to make it sweeter, this time you can add some honey. It makes it sweeter, and at the same time, it can make it softer. Just now, I have twisted it. It is to make it even, make the syrup inside even. I think this is hard work, yes. It looks like to be hard work, but it tastes well. Some netizens have asked us, there are so many flours, and how many mooncakes can we make? It's about over 20. So what is the weight of each mooncake? It's about 125 grams. So you can make 125 grams of mooncakes. The weight of each one is 125 grams, and it's about 25 mooncakes. And how much fillings and how much flour are needed later will introduce you. So it is hard work for mixing it, because the time spent for mixing is long. So we will need it according to this way. So after mixing it, later we'll show you some finished mooncakes. It takes a long time, but the key skill is to use your hand. If you have the experience of making the products of flour, you can use the same processes and same methods in making the mooncake skin, and we'll lift the finished flour onto the table. So if you have been kneading it for several minutes, then we can see this is the finished flour. The flour we can see that the softness and the hardness are just appropriate. It is easy to operate, to make it into different shapes, and how to decide whether the flours are already made well. So I will show you after this. So let's see what are the questions from our audience. If you do not like the 5-nut mooncakes, you can see either soya bean or the fillings of different types of materials.
网友杨婆婆 YY 说，不瞒大家说，我已买了2个5仁叉烧。这个时候您是不是已经吃上了？
Netizen said that I have found 5-nut mooncake.
这个时候已经好了是吗？
我快好。这个时候你可以摸的话，它很手。
So you can feel it, then you'll find it is not sticky. When the flour are kneaded into this state, then it is finished.
"现在还是在做饼皮的时间，一会儿呢就是。
Now we are still making the skin of the mooncakes. When it is made and mixed evenly and you can stretch it, it is smooth. If it is still tight, then it will. We can see that it is not contracting. It means that the flour is already in a good state. When it is smooth and when it is convenient to make it into different shapes, or when we stretch it, it is smooth. If we stretch it, there are different shackles in If we stretch it, we can see if we can see gaps on surface, it is good in good state. So later we can use it directly, right? Yes. So let's introduce it. The key skill is that when it is in a good state, and just now Mr. Liang said that you can stretch it. If it is smooth, it means that the the mooncake skin is well. So later, the second step, we make the fillings. These tools can be used like.
我刚才说到了，在制作这个五仁馅料的时候，需要用到熟面粉。
Just now we said that when we make fillings, we should use the flour. Just Mr. Liang said, because our fillings should use the cooked materials.
就把中筋面粉从生面粉变成熟面粉。
Just now we have mentioned that this is in the middle stage of making the flour. Then this is sugar. Let's put it at the center. And add some water. So what about the proportion of the water? First we should. What is the proportion of the flour against the syrup? You can make it according. There are proportion of 3 against 7 or 4 against 6. Today, our proportion is 4 against 6. It means that the white flour is 6. The flour is 40%. So we are making the fillings. There are more syrups than the flour. You make it according to your personal taste. You can make it 3 against 7 or 4 against 6. So we add some water to. We add some water to dissolve the syrup. This is not for fixing the flour. We should make it soft and make it sweet. Make it sweet but not greasy. Now we add some honey. Some netizens may feel hungry. I want to see what kind of mooncakes it is when they are taken from the oven. A netizen said that they just buy, he or she just buy a mooncake of 5 nuts. You can add some cooked oil. How much oil should be added? It can account for 30 or 40% of the flour. Let me repeat, because sometimes now we are making the 5-nut mooncakes fillings, because some netizens may just watch our live streaming. We should use the cooked flour. Just now, we add we add some water, honey, and cooked oil. And a proportion of the syrup against flour is 4 against 6 or 3 against 7. And what about the proportion of the fat? Is about 30%. If 1 jing of the cooked oil, then the cooked oil is about 30%. So we should also consider how much nuts you want to put it in. The softness is also decided by the nuts you want to put in. Sometimes like more fat. So also some people hate fat. You can take less fat into it. The walnut is less easily to have their oil permeate into the flour. So it depends on yourself. So we should. I also want to give you some tips. Do not eat the mooncakes more often because it has more fat and sugar than the ordinary food. And do not eat them too much. And you can eat it in the breakfast or in the afternoon. Do not eat them in the evening. So some netizens have left their comments. Some netizen has said that I have bought a 5-nut mooncake. A netizen said to Mao Qingqing that what kind of whatever the fillings they are, now the mooncakes in the supermarkets are more tasty. So some netizens said that the fillings, if you used your hands to make the fillings, then you'll be more tasty. Because if you use your hands, then the nuts will be made tighter. So if you use the machines, sometimes the peanuts may be broken, so it will not be so fragrant. Some netizens said that they are complicated. I just want to buy some mooncakes. Making mooncakes sometimes are for enjoyment because they may not be so tasty, but it may be the most unforgettable mooncakes you eat when you make the mooncakes with your families and eat together. A netizen said that we have add some. We have watched the process of making it, and somebody said that I like the 5-nut mooncakes very much, and I like the red and green silk inside it very much. And what is green inside? Green and red silk, and they are made from the oranges. And also netizens from Guangxi said I like the 5-nut mooncakes very much. I do not know if I have the opportunities for eating it. So when I was young, I did not have the experience of eating the 5-nut mooncakes, and I will tell you how I feel. Some also have concerns because before live streaming, we have washed our hands. Our masters, when making the mooncakes, they still have the very stringent sanitation requirements. I have also tasted the cakes made by Mr. Liang, and they are very tasty. And are they in a good state for making shapes? we can make it a little sticky. Now there are the peanuts, the black sesame, white sesame, and this is the watermelon kernel and the pumpkin kernel. The watermelon kernels are but for the rest of the nuts, they should be processed beforehand, and for the sesames, there are some broken ones, and they're not the kernels that are not complete. And in this way, we break it to make the mooncakes more fragrant. So in this way, when we eat it, we may feel they're more tasty. You can also, it is also for enjoyment. We can see from the eye, we can see that there are peanuts, pumpkin kernels, and the watermelon kernels, white sesame and black sesame. So it is in good color. You can also use a rolling pin. If you do not have a rolling pin, you can use a wine bottle. Also, you can use this. This is more professional. When mix it evenly, you can mix it into the fillings. Well, it is so tasty, I want to taste it. Have you washed your hands? Of course. And it is still not very tasty now. So, Miss Liang, when you was young, have had a taste? So when Mr. Liang has made the 5-nut mooncakes, I will be 4. If you like the walnut, if you want all the nuts be the walnuts, then you should add it gradually. Now they are the cooked ones, and you can also eat them now. But when they have been baked, they will be more fragrant. So I want to eat it very much, and netizens can all have a taste. Miss Liang said that there are some procedures for adding the nuts. You should add 1/2, and then we should mix it, and then we should add another half. I cannot help but taste it. Walnuts. During the mixing, they're easily broken. So for the walnut, if you just break it, you break into 4 parts. When you mix it, it is not easily broken. What about the almond? Some people like to use the olive kernels, some like others, so it depends on your tastes. Also, some netizens like to add some spine nuts. They'll make it more fragrant. Also, some netizens can be made more sweet, or sweeter, or less sweeter. So, if you do not like the sweet mooncakes, you may not add some sugar. Some netizens have mentioned the green and red silk, so-called green and red silk. Some do not understand the meaning of it. The real green and red silk are precious. Not every plant can produce it, but today, the red and green silk you have seen are made from the orange. So it is sweet, the sweetness of orange. So we can add some green and red silk. What are the purposes of adding it? You can spread it occasionally. So if you chew it, you may feel there are a fragrance of orange. Then it will let you feel good. So today we introduce you the procedures of making 5-nut mooncakes. They're not essential. You can choose what kind of nuts you want to eat. The fillings are dependent, and you yourself can decide the fillings. Many netizens want to eat them. Now I'm hungry now. Let's review it. We are making the fillings. The 5-kernel mooncakes. You should use the cooked flour, the white sugar powder, honey, water, cooked oil. Some netizens may not understand the light oil. It is the plant oil. Do you mean the plant oil without flavor? For instance, some olive oil or some other plant oil have fragrance, some scents. Do they affect the mooncake's flowers? Yes, they will sometimes affect. You can use some peanut oil. For the sesame oil, they are fragrant, and it will affect the flavors of the mooncakes. So just now we mentioned the materials include water, honey, cooked oil, and 5 nuts. So the proportion of the 5 nuts, and also as for what is the degree of and how should the nuts be broken, and also there are some requirements. And they're made from the orange skin, but we can have a look that their colors are red and green, but when we taste it, they're the flowers of the orange. Also, they're the traditional Chinese medicine. When the mooncakes are finished, if you do not think that there are not enough peanuts or the walnuts, you can add them now. If I want to add more peanuts or sesame, I can add more. Also, you can make it more colorful. You can see from the naked eye, there are different sesames and peanuts. You can see from the naked eye. How much time should we spend? When you mix it evenly, when you make it into the state where it is easily to make different forms, and it is not sticky, in this time it is finished. Just now, Miss Liang said you can not push it too hard because the kernels will be removed. But when you watch it or look at it in a naked eye, then in order to pursue a very good appearance of the mooncakes, cannot make you cannot use some tools. You can only use your hand. This is to separate the fillings into different fillings with the same amount. How much you need is about 125 grams. Like this one, bigger one. It is for 4 grams. Ask you 2 questions. First, when you make the fillings and the flowers, because more enveloped the in order to make the flavors better, should it be more fillings, more thin? Similar, the fillings is maybe 6 or 3 even to 8 of the envelope. When the skin is thick, it is broken very easily. So portion by yourself. There are so the newbies like us 2 grams or 4 grams. But if we have this tool, one filling is maybe 2 grams, or fillings like this one. So the differences may be small if you use this tool. This tool is to weight. And in this way, we can make it fun size. You can show how to make flour. There are methods. Use oven to bake it. Just now, Mr. Liang said you can also steam it. You can use dry flour on will be more stickier. The flour are the raw materials we have purchased. They themselves do not moisture. When you cook it or steam, it will become different blocks. If you put it into the steamer, you put flour onto it. So you can make 4 hours like the steamed bread. You can also fry it, but you should control the fire. But you cannot make it overburnt. If it's overburnt, they're not so tasty. So you should make the flour, knead the flour into a state where it is not sticky and it is not easily sticking onto the wall of these tools.
有网友说，馅越多越好。其实这个，根据口感来说，可能是这样的，但是在包括
Some netizens said that the more fillings the better. But sometimes it can give you some good flavor. But it is not easily used for cooking. Just now, the proportion we mentioned is 2 against 8. When you are making the fillings, in every direction, every corner, it has skin. If the skin is thin, the quality of the mooncakes will be affected. I'm not playing the cell phone. I'm just watching what kind of what you have said.
刚看到我们的直播。
Also, some questions I must repeat because some netizens just not see our live streaming. Some asked, should 5 nuts be cooked? So, ultimately, we have a process of processing. Should it be raw peanuts or the cooked peanuts? And are the cooked peanuts better? Yes, but we should see the real situation. It can produce lots of oil, so it should not be overly cooked. So, if you should control the process to prevent it from being overburnt. Sometimes you can use the raw peanuts. You can use the processed peanuts, including you can also use sesames.
网友赫赫说，看着视频不由得拿起月饼吃起来。
赫赫 said,
不知道你吃的是不是五仁
"When I'm watching the video, I'm eating the mooncake. I do not know if they are eating the 5-nut mooncake. The green silk is made from the orange skin. You may not know, but now you may not know, as we have introduced you. This is the mold for making mooncakes. What is the weight? Is 17. Later we'll show you the mold which is bigger than this. The diameters is smaller, but there is a mold whose diameter is bigger than this, is longer than this. And now we just finished our watching of making the 5-nut mooncakes, and then we'll have a taste. I just cannot help but to have a taste. Now we'll make patterns and then we should bake it, and there are still 3 steps. Mr. Yang said, netizen said that mind you please eat more. On behalf of me, I will. Mr. Liang said that some mooncakes, when finished, they will be formed. When you're learning making mooncakes, and yes, we have mooncakes. So when you have meat, so you watched our streaming, you want to try, you may necessarily be successful. Start making mooncakes. So what is the weight of the filling? It's about 130 grams. So what about this one? Let's make it slower. First, you press the skin. It's like kneading the skin of the pumpkins. You should make it thicker at the center and thinner at the peripheral parts. When you put fillings into it, if the central part is thin, then it is easily broken. So we should make the central part thicker. Then it is well. If we cut it, you can see the skin at 4 corners. They are even. So what is the weight of the filling? just now you mentioned the filling is about 130. Add together is 130, but the filling is about 120 grams. It's about 70 grams. It's 60 grams. Add together is about 130 grams. The 70 grams of the fillings and the 60 grams of the skin add together is 130. And when you bake it, the moisture will come outside. Just now I have witnessed the scale. Let's make it slower. When you are rolling the skin, we should make the central part thicker and the peripheral areas thinner. So you can put the fillings in at the central part, and then your hands should form a mold, and you put the fillings at the central part of the skin, and then you press your hand to make the fillings at the 2/3 position of the skin. Then you use your hand to make an axis. Then you spin the mooncake. Later you close the mouth of the skin. Let's make a wrong showcase. If you close the skin too not tightly, you can see that there are a thick skin. If the skin is not even, then when you finish baking, they're not tasty. So this is the right way of rolling the skin of the mooncake. It is just as well. So at the central part, it should be thicker, and the peripheral parts should be thinner. You can show it again. I use this spinning pin, the rolling pin. Then you close the skin slowly. So you should make the mouth just as well, so that the skins are connected together, are perfectly enveloped. So when you cut it, it not be one part. It will not be not unevenly. It will have an even distribution of the filling. We can see that inside there are green and red silk and kernels, nuts. Now we have not baked it, so it is finished. But still, we should press some patterns onto the mooncakes. We should use some molds. For instance, this one, this pattern has the words of 5 nuts. Mooncakes in Chinese characteristics. Also, there are patterns of flowers. And which side should be used? You can see this is the mouth for closing. It is put on the front side. And the patterns we have finished. If you make it upside down, then if we bake it, it will be broken. So it is not it will not have a very good appearance. If you press it, you should add some flour to prevent it from sticking onto the mold. What are some special skills should we watch out for? If you want to make the patterns clearer, your strength should be appropriate. If you press it hard, it is very hard for you to push it out. You should also shake it, so it is easily coming out. You can. You can shake it to drive it out easily. So let's have a look. The 5-nut mooncake. There are different shapes. The square shaped or round shaped. It depends on your taste. It depends on your preferences. We'll press some patterns. You should use the smooth face to press the patterns. First, we should add some cooked flour, because the cooked flour are not easily sticking onto the mold. It is not easily sticking as some netizens ask that can we remove the red and green silk? So what are the purposes of adding it? First, it can improve its appearance. Second, it can improve its taste. Just as when we are cooking, we can add some different ingredients, so it depends on your tastes. So this kind of art handicraft has a history of over 100 years. So is it a tradition to add some red and green silk? Yes. Some would add other ingredients. Some would add rock sugar. We started making the desserts from 1972, and now it has a history of 46 years. Also, we make other kinds of desserts. With the change of seasons, we have different kinds of desserts, such as the camera treats. And in summer, there are cakes are made from the green soybean, the green bean cake, or the mint cream. I cannot wait. Netizens may not, yes. Netizens may not be, cannot wait. Now we may have heard some noises, because when we have finished it, we should knock it. We should not use our hands to drive it out. We should knock it to drive it out. If we use our hands, it is very hard for us to drive it out. When we press patterns, you should smear a layer of cooked flour so that it is not sticky onto the mold. Does not stick. after we have made another 4 mooncakes, we can bake it inside the oven. How much time should we spend for baking? It takes about 14 minutes to 17 minutes. So the temperature is not constant. You can use the temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. Our ovens at home are small. You can make the temperature about 180 degrees Celsius and you can cook it for another 25 or 30 minutes. It will be ripe. It will be cooked. So the temperature it depends on the actual situation. So we should see the color of the skin. When we feel that they are cooked and has a very good appearance, then it is well. So what kind of state it is? We can see that the persimmon, when they are not red, but they are still yellow, and that kind of yellow color is the color that is appropriate.
对，模具沾的这个是熟面粉，就是跟我们刚才说的馅料用的是熟的面粉。
It is the cooked flour.
对，就是你。
Yes, we use the cooked flour. After you bake it, you can leave some cooked flour to envelope it. Should we smear something? We can smear some egg fluids to increase its transparency and improve its appearance and colors.
这个有网友说，刚才在看直播的时候，在烤箱
Some netizens asked that just now when I was watching the live streaming, so after baking half an hour of the skins are not deformed. The key is to master the handicraft of rolling out the skin, so when it is not sticky, when there are different shapes, when there are chasm on the skin, then it is not in a good state. So we should make the skin smooth. When the skin is smooth, it is in good state. It is a whole egg, not separated. So, what are the purposes of the egg fluids? They are used to increase the brightness and to improve its appearance. So we should improve its brightness to make it like as if we have added some wax onto it. Do not be worried about the eggs. We should evenly distribute the egg fluid, not too much, not too few.
烤月饼不用油，不用。
So should we use the cooked oil for baking it? No. And we have enough cooked oil for the skin and the filling. The finished mooncake has about 125 grams. The filling is 125. So why? Because the fillings are 130 grams and the skin is about 30 grams. Together it is about 160 to 170 grams. So when the mooncakes are baked, the weight is reduced to 130 because we have steams and some of the oil and the water have been evaporated. Some friends may buy the mooncakes online or in the shops. We suggest you, when choosing the mooncakes, first you should see the date of the mooncakes because the fresher the better. Sometimes you should also see the appearance, the package. We should also learn about the enterprises and the production locations of the mooncakes, the hygiene conditions, and also the certificates. We should also know the production time. We must find some online shops with certificates. We can see that it has much sugar and fat. So we must eat less of the mooncake. Also, we'll give you some hints that for those who have diabetes or the elderly or the children, you should eat less mooncakes or do not eat the mooncakes. When you're eating the mooncakes, we should add some tea leaves or eat more water. So now our mooncakes are sent into the oven. After several minutes, over 10 minutes, they are baked. So during this time, I would like to introduce you the tools. For instance, this mold. And this mold is typical of the Chinese traditional tools. Apart from some Chinese characteristics, we can see some patterns. Our smith may cook it handily. In this shop, we have also found some interesting tools. For instance, just now, this is 5 gram in weight, and also we can show you some others. Mr. Liang has said that this tool has over 100 years of history. We can see the Chinese characteristics. It is called 一定雪, and it has the pattern of snow, and there are 2 snow patterns. So what kind of things are used for? What are the functions of these tools? And this pattern is the pattern of an animal. This is the pattern of a goldfish. What are the purposes of this tool? It has several patterns. For instance, the lotus leaf. There are 8 molds and 8 patterns. I do not know if you have such conditions like this. My hometown was in Fujian. When in holidays and festivals, our mothers would like to make some cakes. Our mothers would also like to use the mold to make some patterns. I have never seen such patterns before, but we are familiar with the molds. And the mold has a history of over 100 years. Why? There are no cracks and it looks so new. When we do not use them, we should put the molds into the oil. So when they add some oil, and when the oil permeates into these molds, they are not easily broken. Let's see some comments from netizens. Some said that it is used for making the green. Used for making the green bean cakes, and there are 8 items of desserts from Beijing, and also the 8 kinds of cakes from Guangzhou. I'll bring it. It's interesting.
都是就是用来制作。
There are so many modes.
这里的模具就不只用来做月饼了，还有用来做一些其他的。
These modes are not only used for mooncakes, they're used for making other types of desserts, such as green bean cakes.
比如说这个寿桃，
Also, this character means longevity. It is used for making the longevity pair.
这个好
We
可
can
爱。
see this is used for making the egg yolk puff. This is one of the mode used for making the 8 desserts from Guangzhou.
茶好吗？这个是，这个应该
Is this cicada? Yes. Cicada? Yes. We should look at it in this way. It is a frog.
它的这个图案，这个是蝉，这个蝉是不是真的觉得特别想拥有
This is cicada.
然后尝一下它是什么样的好可惜。
Do you feel that you want to have one and have a taste? It's a pity now. They're used for making mooncakes.
这个是夏天才做的，那等到夏天的时候我们再来尝一下。我特别好奇。
This is made in summer,
这
so
个是一个
when in summer I would like to come and have a taste. What's this? It's a kind of flower.
看一下这个这个是比刚才大的一个模子。
Let's look at this.
拿它都得好。
This is a mold which is different from that one. So we can feel the weight.
月饼。
It is used for making mooncakes. That is 7 grams.
这个有多久的历史？
There are 2 dragons. What is the history of this?
然后刚才我
It
们
has a
在
history
那
of
边
over
看到
30
了
years.
很多的算盘，这个算盘
Just now on the wall, we can see some calculation boards. In the past, we do not have a calculator. Ancient people used the abacus. So when I was in primary school, I learned the tricks of the abacus.
那些算盘就100年的历史，可能
Does
像我
it
小的时候
has
上学的时候
over?
还
Does it have 100 years of history? Yes. When I was young in primary
因
school,
为咱们传承下来以前，它
our
就是一
teachers
个
have told us how to operate abacus, and this is an old tradition.
现在计算
In the
器
past,
或者什么样
this is no shop.
来算本来这个算总价多少，或者
The old shops do not have
今天的这
the
个
calc
店
computers
光
like
然后盘
the
点
modern
一下这个
times,
营业
so they
额
use the calculus.
是的，然后
They should have the settlement of the capital of the money they have earned.
就这些都是，只不过就是各种各样的
We can see many modes here.
法，咱们可以说是
These are all modes.
不同的这种应
The modes are used for making different desserts.
这个小兔，秋月的
This is for making small rabbits.
我们给大家看一下这个，
The
这个也
moon
很形象，这个亮一点，您看
in
啊
August.
这个人，然后这边有一个兔子在捣
This is
鸟
also vivid.
玉兔啊，这个就
This is
很
a
典
person,
型的一个也是
and another
人
rabbit is making the
到中
medicine.
秋啊，对
This is
月
a
亮
typical of the
这种
Chinese
传
tradition.
说吧，因为我们像
When it comes to the Mid-Autumn Festival, there are legends of the moon, such as
所
the
以都会体现在
rabbit on the moon, and these have reflected the traditional legends.
们呢吃了这个中秋，
The rabbit, which is making the mooncakes, means that the
更加健康，更加这个长寿那种。
people will become
也是
healthier
根据咱们的这个
and have longer lives.
演化而来的这个图案。那刚才我们给大家说的
So
一定
the
是
patterns
这
are
个是
evolved, originated from the traditional Chinese culture. So, and just now we have mentioned the Chinese characters are 一定学. So what does it mean? We add some white sugar, honey,
做出来的这
and mint.
雪白的颜色，所以说叫
And when the dessert is finished, then it is snow white. So when we eat them, we can feel it is cool. So why it is called 雪? 雪 means snow in Chinese, which just tell you that when you eat them, you can cool the temperature. So because we eat it in summer, now I can smell the fragrance. Okay. It takes a long time for cooking. It takes about several minutes, up to 20 minutes. Mr. Liang, before our live streaming, Mr. Liang has made some. These are the cooked 5-nut mooncakes. Can we take one? It is still burning. Can I pick one to show it to the netizens? Yes. Well, let's go to this side. Let's pick 2. The aroma is not so strong, but it is still burning. This is, we can see that it is soft. It is crispy. So let's have a look. So after we have added some egg fluid, you can see that the skin is thin. There are sesame and different nuts. I want to have a taste. I've never tasted 5-nut mooncake. I want to have a taste. So, oh, it's so fragrant. It's crispy outside and soft inside. It's just baked. So, the outer skin is crispy, but the fillings are soft. The red and green silk tastes fragrant. Some netizens may not like it, but I myself can accept it. Wow, so tasty! You can see that the peanuts, sesame, and it is not greasy. You can also have a taste. A cameraman and the netizens may be tired of it. So, what kind of taste it is when it is successfully made? It should be soft, crispy, has the aroma of the nuts, You should have the aroma of the peanuts, sesames.
这个糖分，刚才我们一直在
It will feel good when you eat it.
个人口味。
Just now,
适当的
we have mentioned the proportion of the sugar is decided by yourself. Are you hungry now?
流口水的网友还挺多的，那我就放心了，说明我们这个还吸引到
Well,
那
there
个
are so
答
many
题的
netizens who are hungry, so we have attracted you.
就我们刚才已经
Just
强调了
cut
这个
another one.
黑芝麻、白芝麻，包括这个
Just
果
now
仁
I've mentioned that there are white and
这样的话，就你
black sesames and the other nuts. They are visible. So in this way, you can look, see it. Also, you can eat it. You can feel it, and you can see it. There are so many nuts.
来重复一下我们的这个原料，就今天我们在这边
So let's
给大家
repeat.
展示了整个手
What kind of materials should we prepare?
就是面皮的话，就是
And the whole process of making the 5-nut mooncakes. What are materials for the skin? We need the cooked flour, the raw flour, white sugar, water, syrup. We should make the syrup to the extent when it is sticky. Then we mix it evenly. Then add some flour. When the softness is appropriate, then it is in a good state. If it is not it is not soft, it is easily broken. If you press it too hard, it is easily contracted. So an easy way to test it is that you can put some flour. You can stretch it. If you feel it smoothly, then it is in a good state. Then if it is in a good state, you will see chasm into it. You will see the chasm outside. What kind of fillings do we need? The cooked flour, honey, sugar, and different nuts. You can add different nuts according to your tastes. You can add rose, for example. And nuts are essential. You can add some white sugar. You can add some water and oil. Mix it evenly. So what about the taste? The taste depends on yourself. You can decide whether you can add some red and green silk. Some netizens ask that, should we add some red and green silk? Some also it is not necessary. In different places, people have different tastes. For instance, in the southern part of China, we'd like to put some osmanthus fragrance flower onto it. Also, some people like the rose. You can also add some gems of roses. Today, we just give you the basic methods, and you can add up, you can update or transform the methods. As for the fillings, you can adjust the proportion of the sugar against the flour. It can be 4 against 6 or 3 against 7. When you're making the fillings, you use the cooked flour. Also, at last, when you make patterns, you use the cooked flour to prevent from sticking.
包的过程当中是用我们的这个光面，就是
Second, when you're enveloping the flour,
这样的话印出来的
when you close the mouth,
三个就是在烤的时候烤制
you use the side
刷上一层
without the mouth to form patterns. Also, when you bake it, you use the egg fluids,
大家再注意一下。那在烤制的时候呢，这个
the mixed egg fluids. So, these are 3 key steps you should watch out for. What about the temperature and time? The temperature generally, according to it depends on different ovens. It's about 180 degrees to 220 degrees Celsius. How much time? It's about 40 minutes to 80 minutes. When it is 40 minutes, you can watch what is the color of the mooncakes, and you can decide how much time left should be spent. So when the color looks well, then it is finished. When you have baked, it is burnt, and you should cool it for a while. When it is just outside the oven, it is crispy outside and soft inside. I have eaten some. These 5-nut mooncakes are tasty. Apart from the ice skin mooncakes, you should place on the refrigerator. For other mooncakes, you should not, because it will affect the flavor. When the Mid-Autumn Festival is arriving, if you eat the mooncakes with your families, you should control yourself, because it has many fat and sugar. You should not overeat them. And also at the same time, you should eat them at breakfast or at the afternoon. You can also add some tea leaves, such as green tea. When you're buying it, you should also mind the date of the products. You should also ask the seller, what is the quality guarantee time? You should also choose the products with certificates. And now let's just eat one piece of the 5-nut mooncake to end this live streaming. So how to eat how can we eat the warm, the hot mooncakes? You can bake it into your microwave oven and to heat by 5 minutes. And for the big mooncakes, it takes a longer time, or 30 seconds. You can eat them. So you cannot forget it. Okay, now this marks the end of the live streaming. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Liang. Thank you for your hard work to show us the procedures of making 5-nut mooncakes. And also, let's give thanks to Ms. Liang. And this is live streaming of 5-nut mooncakes making. And thank you for your watching.